Emma Clark sat in the waiting room, her hands folded tightly in her lap. At 32, she still felt like that nervous girl who blushed at everything. The clinic was modern and calming, with soft blue walls that reminded her of the ocean, but her heart raced anyway. She'd put off this appointment for months. The thought of seeing a doctor for something so personal made her cheeks burn. But the persistent discomfort had finally pushed her through the door. "Emma Clark?" A nurse with kind eyes appeared. "Dr. Harrison will see you now." Emma followed her down a quiet hallway, each step feeling heavier than the last. When the door opened, she froze. The doctor was young, maybe her age. He had warm brown hair swept back neatly, a strong jawline softened by gentle eyes, and wore his white coat over a crisp blue shirt and striped tie. A stethoscope rested around his neck. He looked up from his notes and smiled, the kind of smile that put people at ease. "Miss Clark, I'm Dr. Michael Harrison. Please have a seat." His voice was calm, professional, yet genuinely warm. Emma perched on the edge of the examination table, her face already flushing. She couldn't meet his eyes. "I know this can be uncomfortable," he said gently, rolling his chair closer but keeping a respectful distance. "But I want you to know you're in safe hands. We'll go at your pace, and you can ask me to stop at any time. All right?" She nodded, barely able to whisper, "Okay." Dr. Harrison spent the next few minutes simply talking with her, asking about her symptoms, her medical history, never rushing, never making her feel foolish for her nervousness. His manner was so patient, so kind, that Emma felt her shoulders slowly relaxing. During the examination, he explained everything beforehand, his touch professional and gentle. A nurse stood nearby, offering Emma a reassuring presence. "You're doing great," he said softly. "Almost done." Afterward, as Emma dressed behind the privacy screen, she heard him typing notes, humming quietly to himself. When she emerged, still flushed but feeling less anxious, he was reviewing something on his computer. "Everything looks fine," he said, turning to face her with that same warm smile. "It's a minor infection, easily treated. I'll prescribe something, and you should feel better within a week." "Thank you," Emma managed, her voice small. "Emma," he said, his tone shifting slightly, becoming more personal. "I hope you don't mind me saying this, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Taking care of your health takes courage, and you did that today." Something in his words, in the genuine kindness of his eyes, made Emma's heart flutter in a different way. Over the following weeks, as Emma returned for a follow-up appointment, she learned more about Dr. Michael Harrison. The clinic staff spoke of him with admiration. He'd funded the clinic himself, they whispered, wanting to provide quality care to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. "He came from old money," one nurse confided, "but you'd never know it. He works harder than anyone here." At her follow-up, Michael greeted her like an old friend. "How are you feeling?" "Much better, thank you." Emma found she could actually look at him now without wanting to disappear. "I'm glad." He paused, then smiled a bit shyly himself. "Emma, this might be completely inappropriate, and please feel free to say no, but would you like to have coffee sometime? As friends," he added quickly. "I think you're someone I'd like to know better." "Outside of these walls," Emma's eyes widened. Her first instinct was to refuse, to hide behind her shyness. But something in his hopeful expression, in the genuine kindness she'd witnessed, made her brave. "I'd like that," she whispered. Their coffee date turned into dinner. Dinner turned into long walks through the park, where Michael would point out birds and tell her their names, his face lighting up like a boy's. Emma discovered he collected old books, loved terrible puns, and volunteered at a shelter every Sunday. "Money doesn't mean much," he told her one evening as they watched the sunset. "But helping people, making someone feel safe when they're scared, that matters." Emma thought about how scared she'd been that first day, how his kindness had transformed her fear into something else entirely. "You did that for me?" she said softly. Michael turned to her, his eyes reflecting the golden light. "You gave me something too, Emma. You reminded me why I became a doctor. Not for prestige or money, but for moments like that first appointment, when I could see you slowly trusting me. That trust is sacred. 6 months later, at a small ceremony with close friends, Michael and Emma stood hand in hand. She wore a simple white dress and flowers in her blonde hair, which now fell loose around her shoulders instead of pulled back in that anxious bun. "I was so scared that day," she said in her vows, her voice clear and strong now. "But you showed me that kindness is the greatest medicine. You taught me to be brave," Michael's eyes glistened. "And you taught me that the smallest acts of compassion can change everything. You walked into my clinic a patient, but you walked out with my heart." As they kissed, Emma thought about how fear can sometimes lead us exactly where we need to be. How one moment of courage, one gentle soul who sees past our nervousness to who we really are, can transform everything. The shy girl who could barely speak had found her voice. And the young doctor who'd been told he was too soft-hearted for medicine had proven that compassion was the truest strength of all. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin in the most unexpected places, with someone brave enough to be gentle in a world that often isn't.